my fingernail broke, so now I'm not going to book this audition. They're not going to hire me for this hand model job, which means I'm probably not going to get any jobs. I haven't gotten any jobs doing hand modeling, which means I'm not going to have the money to pay rent, which means I'm going to be homeless, which means I'm probably going to be selling my body on the street, and then I'm going to feel so ashamed that I'm selling my body on the street. I'm going to turn to drugs, and then my child's going to get taken away. Jocelyn asked me, how do you deal with stress and anxiety? And I know so many people experience this. Life can just seem so overwhelming. I know for me, I've experienced both many times. Luckily, I've been able to get a handle on anxiety for the most part. And a lot of that had to do with changing my perception, changing how I feel about things or what they mean. So, what are the things that make you anxious? Anxiousness in some ways is like worrying. You build up these scenarios in your mind thinking that this thing is going to go wrong, this thing has happened. You get anxious about what you perceive is going to happen, which might not even happen, kind of like worry. And it could be social situations. I used to have that where I felt like, oh my gosh, everybody's looking at me, there's too many people around, it's too many noises, I don't know. And it's because I wasn't secure in myself and who I am, and I wasn't able to be at peace and just be able to breathe. And once I was able to just say, you know what, people are going to think what they're going to think. There's nothing I can do about it. People are going to say what they're going to say. There's nothing I can do about it. See, getting yourself all worked up and getting yourself anxious about whatever the situation is. Oh my gosh, there's a dog coming. The dog might bite me. I've been bit in the past. That anxiousness, it's like this fear thing has come upon you. And it just can overtake you and be like a chokehold. And sometimes in those situations, it's hard to take a step back and realize, okay, let's think logically about this. Is that dog really going to bite me? Okay, the owner has it. It's on a leash. It doesn't look like it, but because of past things that have happened to us, that can also be a reason we get anxiety about something. Get anxiety about taking a test because in the past you failed other tests. Whatever it is, but you have to realize whatever has happened to you in the past doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen to you again this time. Okay, so I have friends who have been, crimes committed against them, crimes of violence, sexual crimes of violence. So they would get this anxious feeling when they would get in a dark alley, or if they were alone and they would see men coming, that old feeling would rise up. It's taking past scenarios and pulling them into the now, and that can sometimes immobilize us. It can make us fight or flight. But we have to stop and realize, okay, in situations like this, it's good to think logically, to do something safe. Okay, maybe I just need somebody to walk me to my car, or maybe I need to, not go out alone at night, or whatever it is. But every time you get in a certain situation, what I'm saying is not about any specific situation, but to stop and ask yourself, okay, is this feeling real? Am I really in danger right now? Or am I just feeling this way based on something that happened to me in the past? Obviously, you want to always protect yourself. But is the emotion that's rising up in you right now, like your boss said, come talk to me after work today? Are you feeling anxious all day long because you just assume something bad is going to happen because in the past the boss called you into the office and you were reprimanded? So not everything that happens in the past is necessarily going to happen to you again. So you have to deal with each situation as it is and as it comes. I notice the anxiety is multiplied when you stack on top of it all the things. So you come up to a situation, it's kind of freaking you out. But then what happens to make you more anxious is you get in this tailspin because you start remembering, well, last time this happened, this went bad, and then this went bad, and then this went bad. And then the anxiety builds because you're stacking on it all the other times certain things happen to you. But if you deal with each situation as it comes, it won't be a situation like that saying that it was the straw that broke the camel's back. If you deal with each straw as it comes, you won't have that stress and you won't have that anxiety because it's just this one straw. And you can't ever let yourself get to that breaking point. So a lot of people, you say, gosh, all my kid did is mouth off to me once. Next thing, the kid's getting child abused and in hospitalized because the parent, they couldn't separate this current time their kid mouthed off to, see, they started stacking the things. He mouthed off today. He wouldn't finish his food yesterday. He stuck his tongue out at me. He said a bad word. And they stack all the things up till they get to the point where they're like punching their kid out. Your goal to not have this stress and anxiety is to keep everything a separate event. Whatever is going on in your life, isolate it and say, you know what, would I really be that disappointed, anxious, fearful if my fingernail broke just by itself? But what happens a lot of times is we start to stack these things. You're about to go to an audition and your fingernail breaks. Oh my gosh, we can work this up to be the craziest scenario in our mind. Like, my fingernail broke, so now I'm not going to book this audition. They're not going to hire me for this hand model job, which means I'm probably not going to get any jobs. I haven't gotten any jobs doing hand modeling, which means I'm not going to have the money to pay rent, which means I'm going to be homeless, which means I'm probably going to be selling my body on the street, and then I'm going to feel so ashamed that I'm selling my body on the street. I'm going to turn to drugs, and then my child's going to get taken away. I mean, that's an extreme example, but that's kind of what we do. We go to these worst case scenarios. We think of these bad things that have happened and we start to stack them. The goal to not have stress and anxiety, whether it's stress over how much work is piled upon you at your job, and you start to look at the piles, whereas you have to take it one thing at a time. You know what? I can do this piece of paper right now. I can do this task right now. I can do this assignment right now. Don't get anxious about the pile that has to be done by next Friday. Start with, you know what? It'll probably only take me 15 minutes to do this. It might only take me 20 minutes to do this piece. Okay, this might take me an hour. But if you take one thing at a time and you don't stack them up, that is going to lessen the anxiety. That is going to lessen the stress. And that's been the best lesson I've learned. Is I have piles on my desk. I have all this work due. I stop and I think, what is due first? What can I tackle first? What's going to be the easiest? What can I get out of the way? And I think of things one thing at a time. When someone has done something awful to me, or I'm scared about a certain situation, pull it back. Okay, is this one situation I'm in right now really going to put me over the edge? Is this one situation really worth me getting angry and all bent out of shape and cussing someone out? So please do yourself a favor. Get rid of the stress and anxiety by taking things one at a time. Don't stack up all the bad things on top of each other. Don't bring the past into your current situation. Think of each situation as it stands on its own. And hopefully that will help you if you put that into practice and you start to think of one task at a time, one situation at a time, one moment at a time, and not stack up all the bad that's come against you. Hope that helps you guys. Let me know. Live true, love hard, shine bright. God bless. Hey there, it is Katherine Norland. I hope you enjoyed that video. And if you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And if you guys think that this video would bless somebody else or that they need to hear it, please hit the share button. And there's a little bell button too where you can be notified whenever I have a video that comes out so you don't miss a thing. I appreciate you guys. Remember, always live true, love hard, shine bright, and I will see you in the next video.